Hello everybody, and welcome to another one of our leadership training videos. Now, in these leadership training videos, I share with you over a few minutes some of the key elements of leadership as I see them through my own experience and my background. I give you insights into what it takes to become a more effective leader. I give you knowledge about the traits and skills and abilities that leaders have acquired over time, and also again through my own experience. My name is Chris Igwe. I have over 35 years experience leading, training and developing teams, primarily across Europe, Middle East and Africa, but also in the 5 major European markets where I've been active and had business. Today I'm going to take you through one particular topic. Now, it's not specifically obviously my own, but I think the value of the insights you're going to get will give you more ability to decide which of those are you going to include in your own leadership journey. Please feel free to like, share, comment, and of course subscribe to the channel so you know when other videos are going to become available. Now, what I've often done is taken 1 or 2 individuals who I see as not only my heroes but also who I've learned with. Now, on a previous video I shared with you Lee Iacocca, who was one of the first leaders, great leaders that I focused on and homed in on to see what his leadership was all about as he grew, whether it's Ford or Chrysler in the US. Now, inevitably, Nelson Mandela is not one that anybody needs an introduction to, but I've identified and highlighted some of the things that I've shared in previous videos, but which I think are incredibly valuable to bring out again today. And I've put this down here because Nelson Mandela, unlike many of the other leaders, I've shared with you about Jack Ma, who was the co-founder of Alibaba, or as I said, Lee Iacocca, or Bob Proctor, one of the great gurus of the time in terms of personal development. Nelson Mandela was all about humanity, so he took it to a whole different level. It wasn't just about his upbringing in South Africa and the dealings that he had, but it was also about just how we can make a difference in the lives of other people and in humanity in general. So I put this here as one of the foundational elements for Nelson Mandela. And I've also identified some of the things which I see as being the kind of core elements of his own, not only leadership style, but leadership communication and also who he was as a leader. He had incredible patience. Now, inevitably, for a man who was imprisoned for 27 years, you can say patience comes naturally, linked to, of course, perseverance. He was not going to give up. He had a mission, he had an idea, he knew where he wanted to go, and perseverance was the key. He had an incredible love for people. And that's not something which as leaders we often think about. You often, especially this word love, people say, I don't want to be loved, or you don't want to love other people. Well, as a leader, you have to show love and you have to embrace people through that process. Love doesn't necessarily have to be the meaning that many of us might think in some romantic sense, but it's more about your caring for other people. He had a very strong vision, and that is one of the things that I've highlighted time and time again as to what leadership is about, and a great and good leader or strong leader is about having a vision. And his vision, amongst the fact that he wanted to change or help not only South Africa eradicate apartheid, the segregation which was clearly haunting him as a fellow human being. How could we live in that environment? So he had a strong vision for change, but it was foundational based on education. He believed, and I believe, that education is the foundation for change in any culture, in any community, in any society. We have to be educated, we have to have knowledge and insight about what we need to do to make that change, both internally and externally. So I thought that what I would do is just take you through what I think that word education means within the leadership role, because I don't want to have a conversation or a discussion around education in its broadest sense. But I want to have education in terms of what do we need to do as leaders to educate the people that we lead. And here are just a few. Again, there are many more, and these can each be broken down into subsections of their own. So the first is to provide your team, your staff, your company, your department with appropriate training and development that helps them to grow. So not just for the sake of doing it, but the need for them to grow. Create career paths. Career paths are basically steps that you put in. You say, this or that person, I want to see him or her progress to this stage and this level. And by doing that, you create a career path within which there is training and development. And this is often forgotten now. In today's world, you see it less and less. The bigger companies do it. They have a structured, organized career path program. But as I've always said, don't allow the company itself to determine your career path. You are the one that has to say, I know where I want to be, and you push to include that in the training and development within your organization, or you do it outside. You may need to take courses outside. But within the team, you need to provide them with tools to learn. There's no point, for example, if someone needs to learn a particular software, they need a computer with that software on it. So you need to purchase that software or that new technology that is needed. So they need to have the tools to learn, and you need to provide them with that as the leader. Inevitably, there's no point having training or development without these two pieces here, which is to have teachers and trainers who are able to provide, based on their skill set and their knowledge, education around the topics and areas you want to cover. And of course, this would come under training and development, but allowing your team, or encouraging them, or indeed pushing them, or insisting, as the case may be, that they attend workshops and seminars which help them to get educated, and through that education process they're able to grow within the business. Coming back to some of the leadership qualities that Nelson Mandela had, which I believe are incredibly important, and again I've referred to these in various previous videos. On the one hand, he was an eternal optimist. There was nothing that was going to dampen his spirit about the fact that we together can create and make a better world. He was all about the world can be better and we can change it. So optimism. Imagine you as a leader coming in with a smile on your face, with a positive energy within your team, or just things are going bad or not quite the way they should, but you're encouraging your team to see that there is something more exciting in the future. He was caring and empathetic. Again, I've drilled in on this. Today we need empathetic leaders, leaders who care, leaders who understand, leaders who can relate to you in different ways. And it doesn't come naturally to everybody, I'll be totally clear about that, but it is really important to be an empathetic, caring leader, because you get so much more out of people by doing that. Nelson Mandela was someone who had incredible inner strength. Now again, the external circumstances, being in prison for 27 years, having abided or been part of that apartheid segregation process between black and white, and the demeaning that that would provide, whether physically, mentally or emotionally, would have been incredibly tough for him. But he had inner strength to manage it, control it, and indeed to use that strength as a power to succeed and achieve what he wanted to achieve. Inevitably, courage. Leadership requires courage. Without courage, we cannot succeed, because you'll always be coming up against things, people, situations where either they say you can't do it, this is a complete waste of time, you're going down the wrong route, whatever it happens to be. You need courage in your own convictions, as well as courage to continue to pursue it. And finally, Mandela was a very wise man. He had huge wisdom, which no doubt the time in solitary on his own allowed him to become much more philosophical about things, learn things for himself, and then to understand how these all played within not only the human landscape, but also politically, which ended up with all of this, him achieving the Nobel Peace Prize, which of course was absolutely deserved. But a very wise man, and a man that I know a lot of people were encouraged to be around. A few of the final things which are very unique, because we haven't really talked about these in the leadership training videos that I've done so far, but they're so powerful in themselves, I couldn't finish without highlighting them. He believed in making your enemies friends. Make your enemies friends. Now think about it. Many of us would rather ignore our enemies, do whatever we want to business-wise, of course, to make sure they don't succeed. In a broader sense, obviously, there was fighting and killing and so on in South Africa, as in many other countries. But he believed if you make your enemies your friends, together you become stronger, and together you find a solution to the problems that you both face. You're just on different sides of the fence. He always saw the good in others. How many of us do that as human beings, let alone as leaders, where maybe your team isn't performing as well as it should? Individuals are underperforming, but you believe that they can be better. You want to encourage them to be better. You encourage them by seeing the good things in them, don't you? See the good things, encourage them to see it themselves, and help them to grow. So he always would see good things in other people. Another one which maybe isn't always associated with strong leadership, as one would say, is he led from the heart. From the heart and with the heart. Again, that empathetic, caring individual that he was. It was all about, let my heart speak to you, or you speak to me from your heart. And together we can find what it is that maybe isn't said, but where there is a solution to be found. And then the final one, which I think we've all seen examples of, was to be a light in people's darkness, but also to light people's darkness, to be that candle, that flame of change, that flame of desire to be something bigger and better. But he was able to light people's darkness, to give them hope. As a leader, we have to give our teams hope. We have to give ourselves hope, quite frankly, because sometimes the going is really, really tough. So those are some of the things I wanted to share with you from what I've taken away and observed in terms of Nelson Mandela as a leader, as a world leader, but as a leader nonetheless, because we can take those away, include those in our own business life, in our own work life, in our own life, and then develop them into stronger and stronger elements to help us become even better, not only as human beings, but as leaders. So I hope that this has left you with some thoughts and ideas that you can integrate in your own leadership journey. Please feel free to like, share, and comment. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you know, so there are other videos when they become available, you know when they are, and you can join us on this journey again. So until the next time, thank you.